You hear breathing beyond the firelight, while your child sleeps and something large circles the cat. Your spear lies on the ground. Darkness hides the threat, and exhaustion is pulling your eyes closed. You cannot stay awake forever, so how did ancient humans sleep without becoming prey? The answer was probably not one heroic guard, but an entire sleeping system built around human weakness. Sleep is biologically unavoidable, yet it disables the senses that usually warn you about approaching danger. Predators do not need to defeat an alert group if they can find one isolated, unconscious person. Children, injured adults, and anyone sleeping at the camp edge would have been especially vulnerable. But archaeology rarely preserves a bed, much less a record of who woke at midnight. Instead, researchers combine hearths, shelters, carnivore damage, camp layouts, primate behavior, and modern forager studies. These clues reveal possibilities, not one universal prehistoric bedtime routine. The first decision happened before sunset. Choose a place where danger could not approach from every direction. A rock wall, shallow shelter, raised position, or open view could reduce surprise from at least one side. Yet a cave was never automatically safe, because bears, hyenas, and big cats also used sheltered spaces. Bones, tracks, dung, smell, and fresh scratches could turn an inviting cave into an occupied predator den. Ancient people therefore needed landscape knowledge, which places flooded, which paths animals followed, and where sound carried. Once selected, the camp itself could become a defensive shape rather than a random pile of sleeping bodies. The most protected positions may have gone to children, vulnerable adults, or people needing the deepest recovery. Adults near the edge could hear movement first, although exact arrangements varied and rarely survive archaeologically. Tools placed within reach would matter more than tools scattered beside yesterday's butchery site. Food waste also created danger, because blood, fat, and broken bones advertised a meal beyond the firelight. At Kesson Cave, repeated hearth-centered activity shows that prehistoric living space could be carefully organized. Archaeologists can map burning, bones, and tools, but they cannot simply label one patch as the bedroom. Still, organized space allowed people to separate heat, sharp tools, food processing, movement, and rest. Then came the most visible layer of protection: fire. Fire produced light, smoke, heat, noise, and a boundary that many animals would approach cautiously. But it was never a magical force field. Hungry or habituated predators could still test the edge. A dying hearth could even create false confidence, leaving sleepers exposed just before dawn. Evidence from Gesher, Anat Yaakov shows controlled fire use about 790,000 years ago. Other populations lived without habitual fire, and dependable use appeared at different times across different regions. So fire cannot explain every safe night in human evolution, but eventually it transformed the problem. A hearth near an approach could illuminate movement while keeping smoke and sparks away from sleeping bodies. Someone still had to feed it, notice changing wind, and prevent the camp's protection from becoming a wildfire. That requirement leads to a more powerful defense than flame. Many people sleeping together. One person alone must choose between complete exhaustion and complete vulnerability. A group can distribute risk across different ages, sleep depths, habits, and moments of waking. A Hadza study found that someone was awake during almost every sampled moment of the night. This did not require a commander assigning perfect guard shifts around a clock. Older people tended to wake earlier, younger people stayed awake later, and brief awakenings overlapped naturally. Researchers call this sentinel-like behavior, an emergent watch created by different body clocks. The Hadza are modern people, not fossils, so their pattern cannot be copied directly into deep prehistory. But the study demonstrates how human variation can give a group protection without sacrificing everyone's sleep. Imagine one late talker tending embers, a parent waking with a child, and an elder rising before dawn. No single person guards all night, yet the camp is rarely completely unconscious. Sound adds another layer, because a sleeping group can become a network of imperfect alarms. One disturbed sleeper moves, another hears it, a dog barks in later periods, and alertness spreads. Before domesticated dogs, human voices, thrown objects, firebrands, and coordinated movement could make predators reconsider. The strength was not the weapon alone, but several humans becoming loud and dangerous at once. Shelter also protected sleep from cold, wind, insects, and rain, which reduced unnecessary waking and exhaustion. Among modern Hadza, Grass huts reduced variation in thermal stress during the rainy season. In that study, fire neither improved nor worsened measured sleep after ecological factors were controlled. That result is useful because it stops us from turning fire into an answer for everything. Safety involved trade-offs. Enclosed shelter blocked weather but could limit sight, airflow, and escape routes. Open ground improved visibility, but exposed bodies to cold and made every movement visible. Deep caves offered walls and stable temperatures, yet their darkness could conceal another occupant. There was no perfect site, only a better decision for that season, landscape, group, and immediate threat. Predation probably never disappeared, and some nights must have ended in panic, injury, or death. But survival does not require perfect safety. It requires lowering risk enough to recover before tomorrow. Over generations, groups that read tracks, organized space, managed fire, and responded together gained an advantage. Children learned where to sleep, which sounds matter, and why food scraps belonged away from resting bodies. Night safety became shared knowledge, carried in habits that left only faint traces in the ground. So ancient humans likely slept safely through layers: location, camp design, fire, group variation, and fast cooperation. Not every layer existed everywhere, and none guaranteed that the darkness was empty. The breathing beyond the fire may still belong to a predator, but now one sleeper raises their head. Another reaches for a firebrand. The group wakes together, and the dangerous animal realizes it chose the wrong camp.